Hey folks, Chris here once again. Check out that beard, man. It's pretty full of ice and snow. Check it out, huh? Well, it's times like these when we need to take stock of things. We have to remember that people make a difference, right? As a service member, whoops, sorry, camera's all over the place. Trying to put my glove back on so I don't get soaked out here. All right, so as a service member, I'm often accustomed to people thanking me for my service, for my military service, supporting and defending the Constitution. You know that document that Democrats are tearing up like a piece of toilet paper for the past 4 months, and been trying to do it much longer than that, the Constitution. Well, I always tell people, thank you. I appreciate the gratitude for my service. It was a pleasure. 36 and a half years in uniform, 34 years of those in the Army, active duty, 2 years of those, 2.5 years of those in reserve component, 6 months in the reserve and 2 years in the National Guard. It was my pleasure to serve and to support and defend this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But I always reminded people whenever they say that to me, hey, don't forget your first responders, your doctors, your nurses, your EMTs, all those people who make a difference in helping you out and making your life a difference. But walking around in the midst of this snowstorm where I went to pay my water bill, yeah, it's kind of ironic walking in the snow to pay your water bill, but walking around in the storm, it made me, not this the first time, but it made me appreciate and realize once again all the other people out there who just make a difference in our lives. Modern life, people find themselves so disconnected from how things work. For instance, you just turn a light switch on and the mains, and there's the power. Your gas is there when you need it. There's gasoline or petrol at the tank station, the filling station when you need it, or the petrol station, depending on your vernacular. But those things don't just happen magically, folks. And especially in a time like this, we think of emergencies and hurricanes and typhoons and tornadoes and the first responders and those who help make a difference and protect our lives and property. But let's remember that even what seems like the most mundane of tasks is a critically important task in the midst of a snowstorm or bad weather. What do I mean? Well, walking around town, I've already seen dozens of people out with plows in both big state trucks, local county trucks, as well as those hired to remove snow and ice so that people can make it along the roads. That's happening. People laying down anti-icing agent across the roads, whether it's grit or salt or whatever it is they use. In addition, I remember yesterday seeing on a loading dock people who dropped off hamburger buns. And think about the bakers out there that are up every morning early, making sure that life functions as it does, delivering milk, eggs, bread, cereal, all the things that we find. And most of us just run off to the grocery store and buy these things. But there's a lot more to life than simply buying things. Someone has to make it happen. And in the midst of a storm like this, someone has to go out and actually plow the roads. And it's not a simple task. People might just take it for granted it's extra work, but their lives are in jeopardy, folks. Try driving on these roads in these conditions. Try walking on these surfaces. It's not the easiest thing. So we shouldn't take for granted all the little things that happen around us just to make life function as we know it. No matter where you find yourself in the world, there are people out there doing basic, important tasks that make your life possible and easy. And we lose sight of that as we deal with the fascist, the neo-fascist, the leftists, and the totalitarian thugs who seek to destroy our lives in the midst of the COVID crisis, scamdemic, whatever you want to call it. There's a real virus out there, but there's a lot of fake political nonsense going on. And we tend to lose sight of all the other things happening around us. As I hear trains in the background delivering goods, driving down the tracks. I hear a snowplow just behind me up the road here, cleaning off the roads. Let's not forget all the people around the world who do all the important tasks that make it so vital for us to live our lives, to get things accomplished. It really does matter, folks, and we should not forget them. As I stand here, partially frozen. I'm actually quite warm and toasty, folks, by the way, in case you're wondering. And yes, if you are wondering, Chris is wearing shorts. That's right, walking around in shorts in the dead of winter in a snowstorm in which I went out and paid my water bill. Anyway, folks, hey, listen, let's not forget all those people that do those things that matter, that really make a difference in our lives. If you turn on that switch and it's working, or if things aren't working and you have to call a plumber, or you have to call an electrician, or someone to come out and take a look at your natural gas or whatever it is, or the people that make coal deliveries if you burn coal, or wood deliveries, people chopping that wood. All those tasks matter. And they're infinitely more difficult in the weather. Canadians know what I'm talking about. You guys know this all too well. This is almost springtime for you guys. But for a lot of people around the world, they take this sort of thing for granted and just assume that somebody's going to do it. It's going to be there when you need it. It isn't always there when we need it, and it isn't easy to do. So let's thank somebody that plows the road. Thank the person that delivers those buns and biscuits and bread. And thank that clerk at the grocery market when you buy your groceries for the work that they do. Heck, thank your barista at Starbucks even. Let's not lose sight of the fact that while people appreciate the service, those in uniform do, first responders, law enforcement, all the times putting their lives on the line. Lots of people work each and every day, do important things for us, not necessarily putting their lives on the line, but making a difference in their lives and making modern life possible. You know, I understand how some people take this for granted. I mean, I grew up on a farm for part of my youth. If the power went out, we took care of it, assuming we paid the power bill. That wasn't always the case. But we fixed the power. If the water wasn't working, we went out and looked at the lines. If we had a problem with sewage, that was something we took care of. If there's a problem on the farm, we pretty much were self-sufficient. If the roads were blocked, no problem. We had our own eggs, we had our own meat, we had our own milk. We could survive on our own for a while. Had our own store of coal hanging around. We were good to go. Oil drums, all that stuff. But that's not life everybody has. You know, you take it for granted when you just grow up somewhere and you don't deal with those things on a daily basis. It's a very different world. So folks, just a reminder, thanks all those folks out there who work so hard. And they've reminded me again this evening just to be humble about the things that people do in life to make our lives better, whether it's plowing the roads or it's bringing the bread or it's milking the cows, whatever it takes. All those important things, fixing the electricity so we've got power. I am walking through some serious snow here. And now my boots are covered in snow, but let's give you a shot there. You can see my footprints. There you go. That's what I just walked through. Anyway, so let me get going back here. I just wanted to let you all guys hear a little bit of an update about the weather. The storm here in central Pennsylvania. It's still coming down. We had snow yesterday. I cleaned it off about 2 inches, not too bad. And then earlier today, before Cyril Ramposa spoke, after my first live stream, I cleaned up the snow again. That was another, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches maybe. And then while I was streaming earlier, it snowed again. And in that snow again, we have now an additional 4 to 5 inches come down. So I don't know, 8 or 9 inches maybe total. Might be a bit of exaggeration, but that's not even the bulk of the storm. We were predicting at 14 inches here, and it looked like we were going to escape that. But now, looks like it's actually come to get us. Anyway, folks, I didn't want to drone on, but just wanted to remind you that there's a lot of people out there that make life better for each and every one of us. Let's not forget them. Let's thank them, no matter where they come from, who they are. Just remember that everybody works hard, and everybody wants to work. Well, almost everybody. Some people want a free ride, but most people just want to work and appreciate the dignity. Boy, the snow has really hit me in the face now, folks. That's it. This is Chris from Central Pennsylvania. God bless and have a good night. Stay safe, stay warm, folks.